You make me feel special. Hey guys, it's Yasmine and welcome to Can I Ask You a Question Neurology Edition. So today we have an absolutely amazing guest with us today. He is a medical illustrator and the amazing person. So please may you introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi everyone, I'm Chidiebere Ibe, and I'm a Nigerian medical illustrator and a medical student at the Ibe-Medical University, Ukraine. I'm 25 years old and of course born in Nigeria, born and raised in Nigeria. I hold several positions. I'm the creative director of the Association of Future African Neurosurgeons. I'm also the creative director of Young Neurosurgeon Forums. I'm also a junior committee member, World Federation of Neurosurgeons, Global Neurosurgery Committee. I'm passionate about art and medicine, and I intend striking a balance between these two. It's good to be here today.
Wow, it's good to have you here today. It's absolutely amazing listening to all the things that you've accomplished in your life. That's absolutely amazing. So that brings me to my first question. What inspired you to become a doctor, or doctor in training, as I should say?
All right. So first of all, I mean, from when I was young, the first career I'd ever choose was to be a doctor. And so I had known nothing else other than that. But I mean, along the line, I was kind of discouraged to go to medical school because I had tried medical school for 5 good years. I wasn't admitted to medical school. And I lost my mom to cancer. Okay, and that was a more reason to push forward to becoming a pediatric neurosurgeon and to be a doctor, because as a young child, watching her pass on, the pain was just too much to bear. And so I want to be able to write that peace, that happiness, that I mean, to give every child that sense of belonging through medicine that I never had for myself. So that's why I want to be a doctor.
That is absolutely amazing. And I guess at that young age where you thought that that would be the best route to becoming and to changing other people's lives as well. And I don't think many people appreciate that sometimes, because they mainly think, oh, that person's maybe becoming a doctor just because of, the money that you may earn from it. And it's really about looking and seeing, it's more to that. Many people have lost people due to illnesses and things, and you're the person who wants to change that, which I absolutely love. And that's one of the things that I really want to become a doctor for. So one of my dreams is to become an orthodontist or a plastic surgeon. So I want to train for that, and listening to your story of why you did that and your courage towards that, absolutely amazing. So my next question is, what are the key steps to actually becoming a doctor or becoming a medical illustrator?
Okay, so that's more like 2 questions in one, and I'm going to answer that. Yeah, so the first step to becoming a doctor is the passion. Yeah, so because I mean, people told me a lot of things. So like here in Nigeria, most times, most doctors do not have jobs. So most medical students, after their medical school, they go into business, they go into a lot of things that are not medical related. That's because the medical system here in Nigeria does not favor people. I mean, after medical school, you don't get jobs. So, before considering to go into a career like medicine, you must be passionate about it, because at some point it will get very difficult, and you would probably want to, you regret why going to medical school, because it's going to be very difficult. So first of all, I would say it's the passion. Against all odds, against when things are not working right for you, that you're not giving up. Like for me personally, as I said before, I tried medical school for 5 good years. I wasn't admitted. So if there's something I was doing because of the money, I would have given up on it. I mean, because I had people telling me, oh, why are you wasting your time in medicine? I mean, why wasting your time? Why not go into technology, which is what gives everybody money now? And people misunderstand that it's not about the money. It's because I'm passionate about what I do. So first of all, if you choose a career like medicine, you must be passionate about it. And first of all, you must be willing to sacrifice yourself, because it's one thing to be passionate about something, one thing to give yourself wholly to it. Yeah, so that's, in fact, that's the first step. You must be passionate about medicine, and you must be willing to give yourself to people. And also, to be a medical illustrator, well, you first of all, I would say, for me, that I'm a self-taught medical illustrator. Okay, so for you to have an interest in illustration, first of all, you must love art. Okay, I love art a lot and I appreciate art a lot. You must love art. You must, of course, love biology, love anatomy to be able to do that. And you must be able to pay attention to details because it's if you draw something that's wrong, you could mislead other person who are studying with that. So basically, that's just the step. And also, one of the things I would love to say is the need of not giving up because, as I earlier said, I'm a self-taught illustrator, and when I started with just a computer mouse and a very old computer to learn. And for one good year, I was teaching myself this every day. I was drawing almost every day. So at some point, if a day passed and I wasn't drawing, I felt so bad about it. I felt I'm actually wasting my life, something like that, you know. But so that's how I grew from making it a passion to making it a purpose for me. So that's just pretty much how what people should consider before choosing a career like medicine or being a medical illustrator.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. And like you're pushing your drive for learning something. And I really loved how you said it. You need passion to do what you do. And I think that everybody needs to hear that in the world today, whether it's going into medical studies or just going to find a job. You need to have passion to do it and not just do it for, the money or the fame that you can get from it. You need to be passionate because it's one thing having a job that you're not happy about. And it's another thing of having a job that you're absolutely happy about. It's about balancing the two. You have to be happy in work and happy in life. And you can't just be, happy in life and not happy in work. You have to be passionate about the things that you do. And that's something that I absolutely love. So, my next question is, what advice would you give to someone looking to go into the medical industry? And, like, what would you tell a person, like your younger self, I guess?
Okay, so what I'll tell people is this, for those who desire to go into medicine, go with the right motive. Okay, go with the right motive because I've had friends who we had the same interest to go into medical school together, but along the line, when it got difficult, when they tried at first and they didn't get it, um, I mean they stopped trying. That's because their motive was wrong. Because I know basically there's this sense of belonging, there's this prestige that comes with being a medical doctor that you're smart and that you're good looking and that you are well earning. But it's not just about that because that's people get it wrong. If you're going for a career because of the prestige that comes from it, you should understand that not every time that will the prestige come. And what happens when it doesn't come means you lose focus and you lose guard of yourself. So for young people who are deciding to choose a career, because here in Africa, mostly our parents are pushing us to go into career that are promising, like being a lawyer, being a doctor, being an engineer. It's not just about that because now the thing is this: when I choose to be a medical doctor, my family asked me, how are you going to be rich? How are you going to make money from this thing? How are you going to? I don't know. I like sincerely, I don't know how I'm going to be rich. I don't know how I'm going to make money from medicine. But the goal is not to make money from medicine, but the goal is to give myself totally for the service of humanity. And that has been the motive towards it. And so when your motive is right, okay, your actions will be right because whatever drives you to doing a thing. For example, when I started medical illustrations, okay, my motive wasn't to be famous. Sincerely, it wasn't. Till today, I'm so shocked that I'm this famous. I'm so shocked. My motive wasn't to be famous. My motive was just to address a problem, which was the underrepresentation of Black people in medical textbook. That was just the motive I was working towards, and the motive has paved way for me right now. So that same thing with people who are going to the medical field as young people. If you are going to medicine, let it be you are going for the right motive, and the right motive is to impact the healthcare system. And if that's the motive, I believe you me that when things get tough, when things get difficult, you have more reasons to stay on them. Like for example, I'm not going to fall back to medical illustrations. When I was doing medical illustrations, because here in Nigeria, from where I stay um, to where I go to work because I'm a Christian, right? So most times I go to church. I went to church for like one good year just to get power supply, okay, to work for one good year. So imagine making a 1 hour travel to where you get power supply every day for one good year. So it's difficult, very difficult for me. But I mean, I didn't give up on it. So because the motive was right, the motive was just to do what I believed in and to speak of what I believed in. So that's just to every young person out there who want to just get the motive right. If the motive is right, you will have reason to stay in that.
Wow. Absolutely amazing once again. It's absolutely amazing how like people who are so fond of the things that they want to do in life, and how you said that you wanted to help humanity. That's one thing that I think the world really needs to hear, and to really wake up to see that it's not for what you can get, but what you can give. It's the most amazing thing. And I really love how you were talking about like you wanted to change this like the perspective of how, you know, Black people are looked in medicine, or like the medical culture. And that's one thing that I really wanted to, you know, prove wrong. It's not that we can't do it, it's that we needed the help to do so. We need people to tell us that, you know, even though we come from this certain background, we can still do this. Because most of the rich and famous people that we see today came from those backgrounds of not having, you know, the support that they really needed to go and to do what they really needed to do, and to help the world to understand that it's not where you came from, it's what you decide to do with where you came from. So people can come from poor backgrounds and, you know, be thinking, oh, I'm stuck in this loop forever, not being able to change what I am and where I come from. Well, it's really you just understanding that, you know, if you have a passion, if you have a drive, and if you have a motive towards what you want to do and what you want to change in the world, you can literally just do it. And that's one of the things that I really love about what you were saying as well. And learning to change the motive of what people think about certain cultures of what they can and can't do, and really understanding how it is where you live as well. Because in London, or England, I should say, it many people like to go into like surgery or to become a surgeon or a doctor because of, you know, the fame it can give them, or how they can change the way someone may look. And really for me, the reason why I wanted to become either a surgeon or an orthodontist was to, you know, help people from backgrounds where they thought that they couldn't be something, and turn them into someone that they can be something. It's learning to, you know, give people the hope of saying, many people might have told you no, but I'm here to say yes to you. And it's learning that we can help each other on the way, and we don't have to be, you know, this person where we can say, oh, well, I'm a doctor, I can't really help you because I'm higher up than you. Why can't you be the doctor that can help the person who wants to become who you are? It's about being a role model to becoming, you know, teaching people that you can become me and you can overcome me as well, by teaching them and by giving them the resources, how they can learn to be at the same level as you. I think that's what everybody needs to do in life. And I think everybody can agree with that as well. So, do you have any study tips for people looking to go into medical area?
Okay. Yeah. So for me, I mean, so the way I study is quite very different because I'm an artist. Okay, I draw, and it's amazing to know that whenever I draw, I remember what I draw more than what I study. So that's why I was advocating for that medical school should include art in their curriculum, because it's also a way of making students remember all what they've read. Because of course, people say that the picture speak more than 1,000 words. So if you're able to, that's for me personally. For me, whenever I draw, whenever I illustrate, I remember everything in detail compared to when I'm studying them. But for those who don't draw, one thing that worked for me is to understand your strength and your weaknesses. For me, I read all around. I can read morning, I can read afternoon, I can read night. I mean, I'm just all around. So, but mostly I love reading the night also, because most times I could be busy with a lot of classes, a lot of meetings, or I have to illustrate also. But I spend more time studying the night. And for those who, so one thing that helped my study is that I study at my own pace, okay, and it works for me a lot. So because the school system would give you what to study, would give you how to study, but it might not really work for you. It's for you to understand what works best for me. Like, for example, when I was doing my first degree, which was in chemistry,
Wow.
I most times I miss classes. I wasn't attending classes, okay, because the class was just boring, a whole lot of class lectures. But I would just go back home, get all the notes, and finish everything just one night. So that's what works for me. That's what worked for me as a person. So if first of all, I would say for those out there, find what works for you, because what works for me might not be what was working for you. You must understand: are you a night person? Are you a night crawler? If you're not, do you love reading the day? If you're not reading the day, of course, classes are always in the day most times. So that might actually affect your reading. So you might actually need to adjust yourself to night reading. And what I do most is I consume more of online lectures, okay? Because what classes gives you might not be sufficient enough. But what I do most times is to take a lot of courses online, is to watch YouTube videos, and most times I'm just my teacher, okay? I teach myself everything. So I think that would be what have helped me so far in all my endeavors. Everything I've learned, what I taught myself. So it's just very simple. Once, because um, there's this popular saying that says that once purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. Okay, so if you've known yourself, if you've found yourself and you know what works for you as a person and every other person out there, and you know that this is what I do, this is what I cannot do, and this is my strength. Right? Because the fact is, a lot of people lie to themselves a lot, and that's what have affected their career generally. You know, and people try to make comparisons, and that's one study people don't talk about. It is wrong to make comparisons with people because, for example, if you're in a class where you are maybe not the smartest in the class, and there's someone that outsmarts you, and you're making comparisons with the other person, it's going to affect the study still because you're not competing to be better than a person, but to be a better version of yourself. So that's why it's good to understand yourself, understand what you want and what you do not want. And when you understand that, it will affect every area of life, but your communication life, your study life, your social life, and all of that. So I think first thing is understand what works for you, what doesn't work for you, then build your timetable, and just keep that up. Yeah.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. Do you have any like recommendations for books that people can invest in?
Um, Medical books or generally?
Medical books.
Uh, well, that's kind of broad, because as you go on, uh, there are a lot of important books that you will read. But I mean, for me, that wanted to be a neurosurgeon, most of the books I read were, I mean, medical books are something you cannot avoid, of course. So you will just have to keep reading a lot of them. But I think a good way to start is Grey's Anatomy. Okay, that's a very good way to start. I think an e-version of that, and I also had a book on. So most of the books I have is anatomy because that's where most students have difficulty in anatomy, remembering the whole anatomy and all of that, you know. So, but the good way to start is anatomy. But I mean, it's what I'll tell people is if you know you're going to medical school, you will see a lot of medical textbooks. So there's no point getting too over excited about starting a lot of medical books. That's fine, that's cool. But I think for what I do is I find a role model in my area. For example, Ben Carson, okay, he was a neurosurgeon and written a lot of books about how he became a neurosurgeon and how he conquered his field and all of that. So I read more of his books also. So I'll just encourage people who want to know books to read. First of all, start with books that align to your career. I mean, for you want to be an orthodontist or a plastic surgeon, um, I know a lot of persons who are plastic surgeons who have written a couple of books on how they conquered, their fears and how they made success. So those are a very good book to start with because that will shape your mind already for medical school and shape you for success already. So I think that's just it.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. So my last question would be, what would you say um, you would want to achieve in like the next 5 years in your medical career?
All right, thank you for that. So in the next 5 years, I think I'll still be medical. I think I'll just running up medical school by then.
Oh,
Yeah. So I mean, I have a couple of goals because, first of all, I want to impact Africa's healthcare system because I know a lot of doctors who travel out to study outside the country and stay there forever. I mean, I mean, nobody cares about what's happening in Africa. So, from research and statistics, there is a very little number of neurosurgeons in Africa. I mean, some countries in Africa have no neurosurgeon, none at all. So imagine, yes, of course. I mean, I think in Africa there are only about 2,500 neurosurgeons. I think so, if I'm not wrong, in the entire of Africa. So some countries could be one, countries could be two, some countries none, and that's a very striking figure. And that's because neurosurgery is a very difficult area of medicine, and people run away from it a lot. I mean, it takes a longer year to become a neurosurgeon. And I realized that children here in Africa are dying of a lot of brain defects because it's expensive to treat neurosurgery cases, and most of them of course, there are no neurosurgeons to take care of those cases. So who take care of them? So I want to be able to come back to my country and impact the healthcare system. And along the run as a medical student or before finishing medical school, I'm going to produce a whole lot of medical textbooks, and I mean, it's so much on my mind right now. I mean, it's going to be massive. So from next year, I'll start working on that. I'm going to publish a whole lot of medical textbooks, of course, all in black skin, of course. So, and it's and I'm also working on a book that's going to be very big. So that book, I'm going to launch it out on my final year in medical school, or when I'm leaving medical school. So now it's going to be okay. I'm not going to disclose the title. I'm not going to disclose the title, but I'm just going to give a tip of how it's going to look like. So it's going to be a book that strikes a balance of how medicine can be more fun when you are artistic. Okay, so I'm just trying to tip into that. So I'm going to do that book at the end at the end of my year in medical school. But along the run, I'm going to produce a lot of medical textbooks, a lot of articles, a lot of and a lot. So, but generally, after my medical school, I want to do my residency in the US or in the UK, any of that. But I mean, I've had offers to come to UK for medical school and to come to US. So I'm still here to weigh that option. Yeah. So yeah, so that's pretty much. I mean, there's a whole lot of things on my mind. Yeah, I'm also from next year. I was starting an initiative. Okay, so the initiative is to give back to Africa. Initiative would be to advocacy, mentorship, and empowerment of Africans. So it's a way of empowering Africans to find a reason to be a medical illustrator or to find a career in medical illustrations, and also to encourage young Africans to go into careers like medicine, of course. And so that's pretty much what I intend doing for a long run. I mean, there are just so many things. As time goes on, it just keep unraveling itself. Yeah.
That is absolutely amazing. I can't wait for the book. I will actually read it because some of the books that I have, my abuelo and abuela from Hawaii sent me the Atlas of Human Anatomy, which I'm reading. It's absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to see your illustration book. That's one thing that I would definitely invest in. So do you have any last words or any last words of inspiration to share with our readers?
All right. Yeah. So just this. People ask me this question. What's the greatest investment that I could ever do as a person? So I say the greatest investment is the investment of self, because people are, see, the thing is the world is just so busy, the world is noisy, the world is crowded, and what people do, people just go with the trend and forget to develop themselves, because the greatest gift you give to the world is a gift of self. When you've given yourself the best, when you're giving yourself the best gift, and that's to develop yourself, you'll be of value to the world. And that's the mistake most Africans do, most people do. They just want to make impact, just want to go out there to the field, to just do big things, but they forget that you cannot give what you don't have. And that's giving yourself the value that you deserve. And that's the best thing that could ever happen to a person. Look inwards, look inward. I tell people a lot, look inward, because that's where you find peace, that's where you find joy, that's where you find fulfillment, and that's what life is all about. So that's just every young person out there. For you to make an impact or to make a change in your world, first of all, work on yourself. First of all, give yourself the best gift you can ever have, which is the gift of self-improvement.
Wow, thank you. Is there any way that all of our audience can find you on social media?
Yeah, I think I'm basically on all social medias. I guess so. Yeah, I'm on Instagram, which is Ibe Illustrate. I'm on Twitter, Ibe Illustrate. I'm on LinkedIn, Chidiebere Ibe. My email is chidieberibe24@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook also, Chidiebere Ibe. Yeah, but I'm not on TikTok, Yeah, I think that's good.
Oh, you should be. Share all
Ah,
the illustrations.
I can't keep up. It's gonna be too much for me.
Oh wow, it's been a pleasure and an honor interviewing you and finding out everything that you are passionate about, I guess, and giving people hope for what they can achieve in the future. So it was absolutely amazing interviewing you. I'll leave all your social media handle in the description down below, and thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.